I have a lot of other stories about, dead people that come to my clinic, and that's amazing. I've got some incredible stories about. On Friday, she came again and she said, Rosa Shoshana. My name is Rosa Shoshana.
Okay.
Rosa Shoshana. So where is she? Rosa Shoshana is here. So I asked the lady on Friday, Rosa Shoshana? No, I don't know her. All right. I don't argue with the dead. I just don't argue. So 2 months later, when I go to that lady, and she's a friend of mine, I asked her, do you have a grandmother? Do you have a grandmother named Rosa Shoshana? She looks at me. She says, I'm named after my grandmother who was killed. I told her what she looks like. She was killed at the age of 27 in a car accident. She said, look, you've got to come to me for a treatment. And she was named after her, and she changed her name.
Wow.
When she was 7 years old, she decided to change her name, but she showed me her identification card. She has her name and Rosa Shoshana. So she came to me for a treatment a week later, and Rosa Shoshana came, and she had a message. Never mind what the message was. I saw her sitting with a polka dot dress, the 50s. She died in the 50s. I knew it already. And, sitting like this with a cigarette and with this thing that holds a cigarette holder and short, bubbly hair, totally 50s. And she was very impatient, and she was lovely, full of life, like her granddaughter.
Wow.
And the message was very, very specific.
Hi, my name is Nadav Lev. I'm a musician, a singer, songwriter, a multi-instrumentalist, and a sound healer. For the past 20 years, I've been using music and sound as a tool of self-development, self-awareness, and healing. I facilitate singing circles, musical ceremonies, and sound healing journeys for spiritual growth and calibrating and aligning vibration and frequency. I'd like to welcome you to my new podcast, Sound of the Moment. In every episode, I'll be hosting a different musician or sound healer who has dedicated his life for this purpose. I'll be going to see different studios, different clinics. Some of them will be filmed right here in my studio. By the way, welcome to my studio. And we'll talk about life, we'll talk about music and sound, different methods and practices, and different instruments using these instruments for these purposes. Maybe we'll play some musical pieces together in the podcast. And I hope you enjoy the show. I wish you a fulfilling and learning experience with us. Welcome, Sound of the Moment.
This is the sound of the moment. It's how it should sound right now. It should feel right now.
Hello, welcome to Sound of the Moment. In today's episode, I'll be hosting Irit Lerner. Irit she's a master, she's a fascinating woman, and she's a master of tuning forks. She's been practicing for the past, more than 20 years, a method that's called Acutonics. It's a method that uses different chimes and gongs in a very huge variety of tuning forks. We had a great conversation. I hope you enjoy the show.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome to your home.
Welcome to my garden.
And my podcast. Yeah, first of all, this is amazing.
Yeah.
First of all, the scenery is amazing. We're actually at the Irits balcony.
Second floor.
And it feels like we're in the jungle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the idea, to have my own piece of paradise, my own piece of nature.
Great. Mm-hmm. So what is a tuning fork?
Well, in our case, it's made out of, it's a tool to originally was to calibrate musical instruments, and also people know it. I'm left-handed. Also to use reflex You know,
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. I didn't
from
know that, by
doctors.
the way. Okay.
That's they
Okay.
always have, the doctors used to have a very large low
tuning fork.
tuning
Okay.
fork. They put it here, and you actually can just touch, and it happens by itself.
Okay.
But it was actually meant to calibrate like you do a guitar.
Yeah, to
You've
tune
got-
it. Yeah, I know. Okay. Acutonics is actually the first place where tuning forks were used as a healing tool. Is that correct?
No, I think there was 40 years ago. I think Biosonic, the American an American man, developed, but I don't know much about the method itself.
Okay.
The methodology of Acutonics, what is so different with the methodology is that Donna Curry comes from Chinese medicine on top of everything else that she's doing.
Go to the
So
acupuncturist
she
points.
actually got together. She's a musician. She's a chemist.
Yeah.
She's many things. Astrology. She's a poet. She's a writer. But she brought in these two methodologies of sound and Chinese medicine.
Okay.
And that's Acutonics is the only one. That's where Acutonics comes from. Acu from acupuncture, tonics from tonics.
Can I hold one?
Absolutely.
So I just want the reason I want to go back. I just want the viewers to understand what we're talking about. Basically, this thing has started as a fork to make a sound to tune musical instruments. But the fact is that the ones that are with this round thing here is when you hit them, they don't make a sound, right?
Yes.
They make a vibration.
Yes.
So this tuning fork makes a vibration, and once you lay it on a certain place of the body, the vibration vibrates on your skeleton, on your bone structure,
on everything,
and you can hear the sound basically through your bones, through your
yes. But we have other tuning forks that you can hear.
Yeah.
We have tuning forks that are not, as I showed you in the clinic. Tuning forks that you don't apply on the body, but over the body, and chimes and gongs, of course. So we cover everything. We cover from the deepest levels of the physical being up to the spiritual and beyond.
Okay, so this, I just wanted a short brief that the viewers will know what we're talking about.
Is.
Yeah. So now we go on to the connection between tuning forks and acupuncture and acutonics. Basically.
So it's really brilliant. No, it's really brilliant. The combination that Donna did, applying the tuning forks, the way she gathered information and built the system, which is based on so many other things than music and acupuncture. It's based on Rudolf Steiner, the father of anthroposophy, and his whole concept of musical intervals, which translates also to movement and eurythmic. And it's deep studies. I actually went into it much, much deeper, and I adore his books about musical intervals. I mean, give me a vacation, and that's what I do. I read Steiner, and I go, I'm thrilled. I mean, it's my passion. But also Carl Jung and his concept of synchronicity, and so many other modalities that are linked together. Also a lot of history about the old Egypt and about Pythagoras and the Greeks and the mythology, since all the tuning forks are calibrated to the
solar system.
The solar system, and each one actually is giving us the sound of one of the planets, as I explained earlier. We actually have, that's how, and therefore we're also using the tuning forks archetype in
solar planets,
in astrology, in order to work with.
Right.
So we have the sound of the planets, we have the archetype of the planet, we have what the archetype does on a physical level, on an emotional level, and on a spiritual level. And every tuning fork has that.
Yeah.
And we're using musical intervals, which adds more depth. And we're using Chinese medicine in order to get the vibration. Now, when I put tuning forks on a person, at a certain point, I say, I read. I read what the tuning fork is talking about with the body, or what the body is reacting and talking about with the tuning forks. There's a conversation.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier.
And it all starts, why do we use two? Why do we use an interval? Most people use one tuning forks. Why do we use two?
So tell me, please tell.
So, and here comes my biggest passion, which is three. Just tell me three and I'm over the mountain. So yin, yang, qi are the holy trinity, you say? You've got the forces of yin, yang, and you've got the qi that moves them. Let's say you've got one instrument and you put it on the body, you get a reaction. The reaction is the third element. You've got the tuning fork, you've got the body, and the reaction, the vibration, is the third element. So I'm expanding it. I'm already taking a third here. I'm taking two tuning forks, different sounds,
tones,
different tones, different archetypes.
Yeah.
Different musical interval, which is a whole philosophical world. And so I'm creating here a conversation between these two forks.
Right.
So I'm making a third, I'm making there's a space for them to talk. The way they talk on the acupuncture points tells me stories you can't believe.
Yeah.
That's what I read.
So basically, okay, I'll try to sum this up because we have a lot of information here. What you're saying is you have in your, let's say, awareness, a lot of information about special acupuncture points, about the archetypes of solar planets from the solar system and the way they vibrates upon human beings, and also all sorts of ancient wisdoms, ideas coming from the Tao, and ideas coming from ancient Egypt.
I love it that you interview me.
Yeah.
You know so much. It's such a pleasure to meet a...
Thank you.
Give me your hand. I'm so
great
thrilled.
to be here.
Somebody understands my language.
Yeah. And you have all this in your Irit. You have all this in your Irit, and then someone walks into your clinic.
First, they step into my house.
First, they step into your house.
They say hello. They use their voice.
Hello. Yeah, it's true. They use their voice, and once they use their voice, you already start receiving stuff.
Yes.
Once they open their mouth, once you see them, and then they walk into the clinic, and once you lay these things, you start to flow. Information is starting to come. Information is starting to
flow is an understatement. It's a tsunami.
Oh, okay. So
it's a tsunami of information.
Yeah.
On many, many levels. I continue, because I love your description.
No,
of it.
but
please indulge me.
So you start to flow, and then what I was trying actually to say is that once you're in that flow state or in that storm state, as you call it, or a tsunami state, all the information is the details of all the information is irrelevant anymore. What's relevant is what's happening right now.
Because I love to be flooded with information because I live in my head.
Okay.
I love to be flooded with information. I had a woman that I went to for something, and she said, "Oh, we have to lower you have to make your mind." I said, "No, you don't. I love my head.
You like
I love my
receiving
thoughts.
everything, and you can handle it.
Yes, I love it. But when I have all this information, I have a mission also. When people come to me, they come for help. My mission is to transmit through transformation the information that I receive to simple words, because I hear it in non-verbal way.
Yeah.
I need in a verbal way to make it simple for the person to understand.
Yeah,
That's my mission.
I wasn't talking about that the cognitive information that is going to come to the person is irrelevant. I was talking about all the information about the Tao in Egypt and the solar system, all this goes away.
Yes.
And you go into a flow.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Okay.
But it also brings up personal stories. I can put a pair of tuning forks on a certain acupuncture point, and I suddenly hear myself say, "What happened to you at 13?"
Amazing.
So I learned not to shut up during treatment, because all the information that I receive is for the person.
Yeah.
I have to work the information in order for the person to be able to receive it, and also make him feel good about the information. And if it's not very good, know what to do with it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of responsibility for me as a healer and as a therapist, because I see everything. Somebody comes to me, I simply see so many things, and I go directly to the heart of the matter. And my community, I know that they work in various ways with Acutonics. Because I lived so far apart, you can say I lived on a deserted island.
Okay.
I came here, we didn't have Zoom, we didn't have WhatsApp in those days. 22 years ago, YouTube was a channel where you meet people.
Yeah.
What do you call that?
The start of YouTube. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember.
it was nothing. I had to go into universities and register and pay money to hear mathematicians talk about the connection between music and mathematics. I read so many books. And eventually, because I didn't have anybody on a personal level, on a day-to-day level, to ask what to do with the tuning forks, because there was so much information flooding, I decided to build it myself. So I had to build it from my own experience. And I have a long experience of body, mind, and many other things that I've done in the future. So I actually built within Acutonics, I've built my own system, which I teach.
Amazing.
And a lot of it is, what do the tuning forks tell you? For years, I didn't say what I thought, what I felt. And then I just decided one day I'm opening my mouth. And since then, I don't shut up. Information comes to me, I speak it. They tell me something, I say it.
Meaning that you actually, when someone steps in your clinic, you are in a full trust, basically, that anything that will come to you.
I'm in tears when you say that.
What I'm asking is, where I'm going is to be in full trust that anything that comes to you will be right for the patient
and
to
related.
receive.
Yes. No other noise. Everything is so concentrated on the moment that I put the tuning forks. I play. I can also gather a lot of information playing over the body.
Yeah.
With the chimes, or sometimes they give me more information.
Yeah.
But I never forget that with all the information that I receive, the aim is to make a difference to the patient. Yeah. Now, the tuning forks do the work. When you say trust, this is a major thing with Acutonics. You cannot work with an ego. Once I open the clinic, my ego, and my Aries ego goes up. But when I walk in, I hold the tuning forks, they are the boss. They work without my intervention. The more I want to treat, the less vibration I will get. Hence, what you said, you put spirit, or you put an neshama in matter.
Yeah, neshama is the Hebrew word for soul. Yeah,
soul. So once the tuning forks are there, I'm free.
Yeah,
I can roam in my mind, in my head, what I think, what I feel, but the tuning forks in the meantime do what they do. Now there's always a total synchronicity between what I say and what the tuning forks do. They tell me what I see. They tell me what they see. And I tell the person, in the meantime, they're working, they're doing their job.
Yeah.
So when the treatment ends, the tuning forks, which I totally trust them. I mean, I adore them. I call them my husband and kids.
Yeah.
They know what to do. They know what to do because the body understands sounds, because the body is all about vibration. Yeah. They say that the smallest part of the cell is actually vibration. They've discovered it in so many ways. They don't even have a name for it. and they don't know how it was created.
Okay.
We are
Okay.
talking about the nature of nature. Anything that doesn't fit the frame of nature is not in my vocabulary. And as we discussed earlier about blocks and about all kinds of things that people think that I have a block here, I can't do it because I'm blocked. Nature doesn't have blocks. Nature has an ongoing movement of cycles. Anything that is in cycles is never blocked. It can be delayed, it can be covered, it can be not the right season.
Yeah. Nothing's ever still. Nothing's never still.
Everything is always moving and always in a certain part of a cycle. So that's the whole idea of life. And unfortunately, we have so many words from, let's say, from psychology that are used in everyday life, and they actually are here to, they don't help us, but they actually make the feeling remain. For example, I had a woman come to me a few months ago, and she says, I have an eating disorder. I said, no, you don't. She said, yes, I have. Yes, I do. I said, no, you don't. And we went back and forth, and it took us, I think, 4 or 5 times to realize that just the fact of saying that, she has an eating disorder, and if she doesn't say it, she doesn't.
Yeah.
And that's the mind for you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. This is the way the magic way that the belief system works is every belief actually establish itself by convincing you that that is the whole truth.
Exactly.
And it's very hard to change. Yeah.
So how do you change?
Yeah. I learned that what works for me
is the first step to change your beliefs in order to change what you receive from reality is, first of all, change the belief that beliefs are hard to change. This is the first core belief.
True.
Okay, beliefs are easy to change. Beliefs are accessible to change.
Okay.
They're possible to change.
What is your access of changing a belief? Give me a belief about yourself.
A belief about
Let's get
myself.
personal.
Wow. You see, we're only starting, and you're interviewing me. But let's go
That's
along
the only
with
way
it.
I can answer how I work.
Well.
It's the only way.
I'll go straight to the core of most people's pain, and I think the belief that I'm not loved, the belief that I'm not good enough. I think that's the deepest core beliefs in which we receive reality, which we experience as negative.
Okay, you come to me with that. Let's say I put tuning forks on you, and or you tell me, or I find out about it during treatment, and it should actually jump up as the first thing if I treat you, because it's so emotions and thoughts about yourself are so easy to detect through the way I work with the tuning forks and other tools. So I would ask you, how do you react when you feel unloved? And I would teach you how to change your reaction. Not changing the thought, not changing the belief, changing the reaction of what you when you feel that way. Now, if you change your behavior and your reaction, and you have to practice it like praying, you have to practice it like a dog. I said the mind is like a dog. You have to train your mind to think another thought.
Yeah.
And in order to change your reaction to something, somebody says something, you feel unloved, you change your reaction, you also change what the other person is saying. You change the interaction, the communication, and eventually your mind changes its mind. Yeah. Now, I do it through 2 ways. I do it by talking, and I do it with a tuning forks.
Tell us an amazing story from the clinic.
It's a naughty one. Do you want to hear a naughty story?
Yeah, okay. Let's do
a naughty story.
Yeah, okay.
I had a man around 50 come to me, super, super, super super spiritual man, wrote books. I mean, amazing human being. And he came to me because he was feeling a little bit low. It was after the war started. And I'm treating him, and I took Mars Venus to my hand. Now, Mars is the ultimate yang, yin is the ultimate yin, and together they make a fifth, which is a very, very harmonious interval, and they sort of open up a gate. And I'm coming to put it on the sex chakra, which is life chakra. This is the area where life is all about. And I trying to put it, and poof, flows out of my hand and bang into the floor.
Holy
Mars.
shit. Okay.
So I'm looking at Mars, and when that happens, I start laughing. Everything that happens in my clinic, because I told you I have a sense of play, everything that happens, I notice. And I said, I wonder why Mars got out of my hand. It just flew out of your hand. Out of my hand.
Oh, wow.
And I said, Mars is the ultimate yang, is the male, Why did he fly out of my hand? Mm-hmm. So this lovely guy tells me, well, the reason I came to you is because lately I have a sexual problem. I'm so spiritual that I can't be like in my body. Mm-hmm. And I laughed so much. It was so funny. So I took another tuning forks. I let Mars, I put Mars on the side, and I said, within 72 hours, I want you to send me a thumb up.
Okay.
3 days later, he sends me thumbs up. But it's so physical. It's so... Things to me are so coherent.
That is an amazing story.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful story.
I have a lot of other stories about, dead people that come to my clinic, and that's amazing. I've got some incredible stories about. But they come to me in name, they come to me physically. So one day, I remember it was a Wednesday, I'm treating a woman, and a soul came by and says, Efui, where is she? Where is she? Where is she? She didn't say who she was. Where is she? Where is she? I didn't answer because she didn't come by name. I'm not supposed to read your mind, ghost,
Yeah.
So the second day I have a Thursday, I've got a man in my clinic, and again, she comes, Efui, where is she? Where is she? And I say, I don't know. So the man jumps up and said, what happened? I said, I don't know. There's a dead lady here asking, where is she? Where is she? 2 months later, I go to do my eyebrows, and at the end I said, On Friday she came again, and she said, Rosa Shoshana. My name is Rosa Shoshana.
Okay.
Rosa Shoshana. So where is she? Rosa Shoshana is here. So I asked the lady on Friday, Rosa Shoshana? No, I don't know her. All right. I don't argue with the dead. I just don't argue. So 2 months later, when I go to that lady, and she's a friend of mine, I ask her, do you have a grandmother? Do you have a grandmother named Rosa Shoshana? She looks at me. She says, I'm named after my grandmother, who was killed. I told her what she looks like. She was killed at the age of 27 in a car accident. She said, look, you've got to come to me for treatment. And she was named after her, and she changed her name. Wow. When she was 7 years old, she decided to change her name, but she showed me her identification card. She has her name and Rosa Shoshana. So she came to me for treatment a week later, and Rosa Shoshana came, and she had a message. Never mind what the message was. I saw her sitting with a polka dot dress, the 50s. She died in the 50s. I knew it already. And, sitting like this with a cigarette and with this thing that holds a cigarette holder, and short, bubbly hair, totally 50s. And she was very impatient, and she was lovely, full of life, like her granddaughter.
Wow.
And the message was very, very specific. That's one of the crazy stories that happens to me, but I have a lot of crazy stories. That's only one. Sometimes you just have to wait for the right person to come. So in the past, I used to see scenes. Once I started with the tuning forks, it took many years to realize that I'm getting very specific messages, and later they came with name and bodies and the way they look and even smells and what they'll have to cook. So it's very precise. I'm
Do
fine.
you think that when when a patient receives such a message from you, I'm wondering, like, what I feel, I'll tell you what I feel and tell me what you think about it, is that this person needs, let's say, needs a certain information or message for his development or healing in life. And basically, the correct way for him to receive that message is through an image of an ancestor or a dead person that connects to his life in some other way, and it comes through you. What do you think about that?
Yes to everything you said. They come to me, so and I have an open gate to the dead. I've been speaking to the dead people since I was 5 years old. It's not something new. I was born with it. But because they come to me, I'm the one who's giving them the message. They could have received it in many other ways if they went to other,
No, that's what I'm saying, is that it's not that every person that comes to your clinic, you receive such a message for him.
90%. But also the truth.
Okay, so you're saying, okay.
I can tell you a little example. A friend of mine wrote me yesterday that her mother finally died, and I said, was her name Sarah?
Yeah. But did she have a
So the
message
mother,
for her?
as soon as she died, she came to me. I immediately saw Sarah, and there was a message for her daughter. It was a few hours. She died in the morning, during the night, and the minute I heard it, her mother came to me.
All right.
So they just come. I never ask for it. I never ask anything. I have a very strong. I have rules regarding the channeling. I don't speak to them. I don't ask them anything. Sometimes they're present in the room and they guide me what to do. They tell me which interval, which tuning forks to take. You have to understand that every treatment that I do is a journey.
Yeah.
It's not just a treatment. I open up this astrological map and ask questions, and people tell me why they're coming to me. And there's a discussion. And then there's what the tuning folks say. And the tuning folks, they don't say you have a stomach ache. They say you have a tendency to please people.
Yeah.
That's why I start a conversation with people, because that's what they tell me.
Yeah.
Okay? In order to do that, you have to be egoless. Totally. You have to not think about what you think they're saying. And the more you do it, the more you get used to emptying your head. The more you do that, the more you're silent. The more you are silent, the more you can hear a new thought.
Yeah.
The more you can hear new thoughts, you can change your mind.
Yeah.
So everything that I have and learned is from Acutonics. They taught me everything. They taught me to be patient. They taught me to seek that quiet place. And actually, when I put tuning forks on one of your points, when you arrive to me, within 3 seconds, your mind changes, because it goes directly into your nerve system, and it has an immediate effect. They are super strong, and they're immediate. So in 5 seconds, the tuning forks are bringing your body into a quiet place. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but your body, the beginning, the first treatment says, what's this? What's that? Once it realizes, the body realizes, not your mind, that it's fine, it's only music, and it's pleasant. It's not unpleasant. It starts to talk it relaxes and starts talking to the tuning forks. And that conversation I hear.
Yeah. The way I see sound healing, and also the way I practice it, first of all, I don't call my work treatments at all. I call them only journeys. Like, I do sound.
Only journeys?
Not only, but the way I call it journeys. I don't call it. I don't. When I receive people, I don't say come to my space is not called a clinic.
Journeys,
it's called
I
a
like
studio.
that. Yeah.
Okay, it's not called a clinic. It's called a studio, and when people come to me, they don't come for a therapy session or a treatment. They come for a journey. And the way I see it is basically coming to is basically bringing someone, making it available for someone to be in a neutral, non-thought state through sounds and the tools.
Yes.
There are many, many tools for it.
Yeah.
Both in sound healing world and also many, many other tools. And in that state,
sound tools are the best to reach that state.
I'll agree with you because
of course, it's the fastest and deepest.
It's very fast
and pleasant.
It's very fast and very pleasant.
Yeah.
And in that state, a person is able to receive
True.
the healing that is coming naturally to him all the time.
Exactly.
But that's the space where his mind rests and he can finally receive it.
Yes.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one more thing that I wanted to talk to you about, which is one of the basics of Acutonics, and of course how I see the world, is in geometry.
Okay.
Geometry is such a huge subject, but like the mind, it's a huge subject. But if you can concentrate and put it into very simple forms, you get the triangle, which is the 3. You get the Magen David.
Magen David, the Star of David.
Yes, yeah. And then if it's if you start moving the Magen David, you get the Merkava.
The Merkaba.
And then you get the Flower of Life, and then you get all the mandalas, and you get Fibonacci, and you get the Taurus, and you get so everything comes from a small movement. But everything in us works within some laws of chemistry, biology, and astrophysics, which is geometry. Everything is geometry. Yeah. So I've studied it in specifics, and I'm not getting into it anymore because it's a very common subject today. There's so many in YouTube and in Instagram, because it's the most wonderful things, that they didn't exist 10, 15 years ago. And it's amazing. I watch them with such pleasure because they're accessible to everybody. But actually, we work a lot with, if I can form, with the tuning forks, I can form a form. And then I can just, do something to move. And the form itself starts to rotate and make another movement. So when we're talking about what comes first, the sound or vibration, as you said, vibration is always there. We just sort of put a little order into it if there's chaos, if there's chaos in the body, if there's chaos in the mind or the heart.
I want you to actually to expand on that. Basically, you're saying you're working with certain sacred geometry forms, structures, as, for example, the 6-pointed star, the Star of David.
We work a lot with Fibonacci.
What is Fibonacci?
So Fibonacci was Italian, obviously. I think in 1510, he discovered the mathematical equation to a...
To circle? To a...
No, to...
Spiral?
Spiral.
All right.
So Fibonacci discovered the mathematical equation of a spiral. And again, everybody can go into it, but there was a mathematician, a brilliant mathematician who studied Acutonics, and with his help, they built, Acutonics built a whole set of Fibonacci tuning forks, which go according to the numbers of the Fibonacci, according to the law of Fibonacci, and Donna incorporated that with the highest, let's say, secret of Chinese medicine, which is called extraordinary vessels, and formed a protocol which is called Fibonacci. And it's a protocol that you can just use, and I can do it in 15 minutes and get out of the table and go away. Now, I specifically don't use the Fibonacci tuning forks.
Mm-hmm.
I because I'm an Aries and I like to decide myself, so I decide which tuning forks I'm taking to do the Fibonacci. And there's a sequence how you do it. Exactly, it's very, very precise. What is it meant to do? To reorganize everything and make everything move in a certain rhythm.
But when you say that there is a structure
Protocol.
forming upon certain someone's, I wouldn't say body, I would say whole being. Yeah. So tell me more about that. About us. About where is that structure? I mean, how?
So this is a theoretical question on a very non-theoretical answer.
I know. So
no, because you want to know, and I always go to the sources. I always go to science. I read a lot.
No. I don't want that. I just want to. I want to feel a sense of it when you.
The whole body, everything in our system works under the same rules, under the same chemical rules, under the same biological rules, and under the same geometrical rules. This is our world. This is life.
Yeah, true.
Life goes. We just remind the body if it's out of tune, we tune it back. We can tune it back to harmony. We can move it if it's not moving. If it's moving slow, we can push it a little bit towards harmony.
Yeah.
We use different tuning forks and different intervals. But we move it towards the geometry that is flowing in a constant rhythm.
And you see it in a visual way in the clinic?
I see, I see the energy.
On that, yeah.
First of all, I feel it.
Yeah. You feel it, you suddenly feel a certain
I can feel it with the tuning forks. It's very, very simple. If you understand.
I'm talking about a specific form that you will feel in a certain moment. Yeah.
So you see, this is the synchronization of Acutonics. You see on so many levels, so many different things, but they all come together to a geometry.
Uh-huh.
I always direct them to a geometry, to one specific geometry, which is a third, which is a 3. It's very difficult to
triangle.
explain.
Okay.
The triangle, which forms in movement, creates the torus, which is the energetic of everything. So I just have to get it started.
Right.
I feel when any tuning fork I take, when I see that triangle, and I can see it in so many ways, through vibration, through interval. It's interesting because nobody's asked me about that specifically. It's always very difficult to put into words how I work because it's a non-verbal way.
I can
can only say one word at a time,
Yeah, I can completely relate to that. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
because
but it's always a try. It's always a 3. I want to arrive, for the person to arrive in every cell of his body, the yin yang qi, this third. If you've got the yin yang balanced and you've got the qi moving between the yin yang, it'll fly off by itself.
Great.
And when the body forgets that structure, then we remind him. So for me, when I say 3, it's always a 3 and a third. A very interesting thing I read the other day. There are very new researchers about the guts. And relatively new because they only started researching it a few years ago. Now, they discovered that in the guts we have over 500 million nerve cells, more than in the spine. They've already discovered in the past, a few years ago, that there's a specific area in the brain which is totally dedicated to connecting with the guts. Everything you think, you feel, everything you eat. Yeah. And the research about food is what does it does to your brain. The brain research is immense at the moment. Yeah. But what they've discovered about the guts is a fascinating thing. The guts actually developed microbes that take part 70% of the medication that we take. not to help the body, to dismember the medication. 70% of the medication. That's only one research. I don't know how true it is,
Yeah.
but it just blew my mind that there's a possibility that whatever it is medication we're taking, only 30% of it works. Where's the rest of the 70? That's the mind's work.
The gut saves us from the other 70%.
Yeah.
The
And they
right
also
answer.
discovered, since I read a lot of research on cancer, they discovered that a frequency of 100,000 together hertz, together with 300,000 hertz, break cell
Cancer cells.
cancer cells. 1 in 3.
Mm-hmm.
3. 1 in 3.
A third.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
So we don't have 100,000 hertz, but we've got a third.
Yeah.
So we do the best we can.
Yeah.
And the research is really just beginning. It's everything about vibration is very, very new.
Mm-hmm.
I spoke the language a long time ago. Donna spoke about the language a long time ago. And only in the last 2, 3, 4 years, people have started to, the whole level of awareness of humanity sort of, I mean, on one sense, it went very low and very black and very dark. But if you understand yin yang, you know that the higher you go, you need the
Yeah,
lowest to exist also.
Yeah. It's a time of a great expansion. It's
Great
there,
expansion.
times of
great difficulties.
Of great distance between the poles.
Yeah.
And they are distancing apart from another.
True.
And basically, we can live in parallel realities on the same plane.
So that's
they're
a challenge. That's a challenge.
It is.
I always say that I'm trying to teach people how to live with a broken heart. Coming from Israel and going through what we went through, how to live with a broken heart. It's possible to be happy with a broken heart.
Exactly.
To enjoy with a broken heart.
When I say parallel realities, I'm not saying that a certain individual can live in a reality which, let's say, I don't know, the war doesn't exist. No. Everything is going on. You are aware of all the parallel realities, but you can focus on a certain reality and be in a certain vibration. You can vibrate in a certain level, which holds a different frequency.
But also understand that you are a wave.
Yeah.
That everything goes, sometimes you fall and sometimes things are too much for you and you're overwhelmed with reality, and it's all right.
So it's a bounce back and forth.
When people come to me and they say, I said, what would you like? They say balance. I said, well, the graveyard is right over there. This is a place you can find balance. You don't find balance in life. You look for balance. Balance is a search. You reach it for 1 second, like happiness, total happiness. You have it like you can have it for a day or a few hours in your life, and then you're glad you're not happy all the time. Balance is something that you always search. Yeah. You can only find it momentarily. If you want balance in your life, go and live in nature, disconnect yourself from people. I did it for almost 20 years. It's beautiful. But after 20 years, I came back to society.
Yeah.
And I keep wanting to, I go there to fill up, but I have been living in nature. I know what nature means. Nature doesn't mean balance. It means movement and flow and cycles. Yeah. If you learn, when you live in nature, you learn that you are a cycle in process. So you don't expect yourself to be in one state of mind, balanced. You're high, you're low, whatever it is, it's natural. Every thought you have is natural. Every feeling that you have is natural. The question is it making you feel good about yourself? If it's not making you feel good about yourself, let's change your reaction to how you feel.
Yeah. Yeah, but
and don't
course,
cut
but
this out. Put it in, please. This sentence, put it in.
But in a sense, yeah, okay. It's. I feel like it's semantics, because being in balance for me, when I say, I don't use that word as well, but if someone says that to me, what I feel like he's trying to say is, I want to be balanced with my with my reactions to things that go on, with my reactions to my emotion. Okay. I feel like we can wrap it up. What I would like to ask you, I would like to ask you if there is anything you would like to say without a question, without me guiding.
It's very dangerous to ask me that.
Briefly, please.
My friends are going to laugh and they see because Irit always has something to say. I want to say that the flowers are beautiful.
They are.
And the chimes that are not playing right now, but if you touch them, they'll make the most beautiful sound. And I love the feeling of the sun on my neck. And I love being right here in this moment. And that's all that counts right now. Right now, I'm very glad.
Yes, you are. Thank you so much
My
for
pleasure.
being a guest in this chapter.
And good luck.
Please remember to like and subscribe and join us for our next guests. And thank you very much. Peace to all.
Okay, so this is where it all happens, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
This is where the magic happens.
Yes. Okay. So
The tuning forks.
Alrighty. Wow. Quite a collection.
You've got the chimes. It's not all of them, but it's plenty. We have oils.
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 Oh.
For each tuning fork, we have oils. And
Each tuning fork has an oil.
has an oil.
Okay.
And there are also...
And this actually quite interests me.
No, this is mine.
Many notes and colors.
This is mine.
Okay. Okay, so
These are all mine. And we also have gongs, which I don't
gongs.
have.
Okay.
You can see the space is too small, but we have gongs. We have an amazing amount of paste gongs,
Okay.
calibrated to the same tuning forks frequency.
You have gong for each fork of these?
Yes.
You have a lot of gongs.
Yeah, but I have to explain to you something about Acutonics.
Okay, so let's do this explanation now. I'm gonna
Okay.
put the camera on a stand and then we're gonna be able to see me as well. And let's see. Okay. Probably gonna cut this later on. Okay. So okay.
Right?
So
Yeah.
So what am I supposed to do? Am I
Nothing.
sitting here?
Yeah, just sit here for a minute and I just want to explain to you the basics of Acutonics integrative medicine. We use tuning forks in couples in order to create a musical interval, and we put them on acupuncture points and chakras. That's the basic of it. Now, each tuning fork comes in three octaves. This is the low octave. This is middle octave. And this is the high. The high we don't put on the body. The high we work over the body. But we always use couples. So actually each tuning fork has 3, sometimes even more octaves. And I use them in order what the person needs.
Mm-hmm.
So I never decide in advance which one I use. It depends on the communication I have with the person.
Yeah,
And I communicate on many levels.
That's the
and
interesting part, the juicy part, we'll save that.
Oh
for-
yeah. Oh yeah,
Okay.
it'll blow your mind.
Right.
So, if I'm using if I'm using two tuning forks, different ones, I create a musical interval. Okay, so this is musical intervals is a very, very wide and philosophical theme.
Yeah.
We get it from, Donna Curry, the inventor of Acutonics sound healing. She brought in collected a lot of methodologies, besides her being a genius. And one of them is Rudolf Steiner, and how he has a whole
interpretation of music intervals.
of music. He didn't interpret it, he created an interpretation. That means he says that we are born with the music inside us, in ourselves, in our mind, in the way we operate. And when we hear music, when we hear sound, we actually just remember. And we react in a way of movement. That's why when people come to me and they say, I'm stuck, you're not stuck. There's no such thing as stuck in nature. It's either a slower movement or faster movement, and that we can change with the vibration. But every word that has like a definition of end and not cycles is out of my vocabulary, personally. I just don't use these words at all. I only use words within the limits of nature and movement and cycles. Everything is cycles. So if you're down, it'll pass. If you're sick, you can get better. So it's all a part of a moving thing. It comes from Chinese medicine. Also from, if you have an illness, that means you also have a cure for it within your body. That's that's how Chinese medicine sees it for the last 5,000 years, maybe more.
Yes.
So getting it all together is very, very interesting and has a variety of options to treat, which is really mind-blowing. So I'm just going to give you a little example. This is the first time you're recording, the first time you're hearing our Om. Om is the frequency of planet Earth in 12 months. It's our home. And
What do you mean 12 months? Sorry.
I'll explain to you later how it works, but I just want to put it aside and leave the mind and go to reaction. This is how we hear it. And this is how you feel it. We put it 3 times on each point in order to give the body an opportunity to rise up to the interval or to the vibration and work with it. So you can feel the difference between the first time, the second time, and the third time. And I'm holding the tuning forks, so I feel the discussion that these tuning forks are having with your body on the meridian, on the acupuncture point. That gives me all the information I need. So I actually read the vibration, and I know your state on this acupuncture point and what it means about you. If I change one tuning fork, put it on the same spot, does it feel different?
Of course.
Okay. And also I put it 3 times. And each time it goes deeper and more of the body sort of talks.
Surrender. Oh.
No, not surrender, but collaborate. I think collaborate is a better word. Because the body acts anyway. What happens in the body is what happens in the body. And then I can choose and put the difference between acupuncture and acutonics. And acupuncture, you put one needle on the same point. We can put various
various forks, various intervals.
And each one has a different meaning. So the first thing is understanding the 3 octaves thing and the intervals. Chinese medicine and of course astrology. Why? And because when I say that this is Om and this is the planet Earth in 12 months, ברכה לי המילה, את זה אתה תחתוך.
אין בעיה, תגידי לי מה המילה, אני אעזור לך.
ברכה לי המילה.
גם בעברית, היא ברכה לך בכלל, she went away.
When you're close to 70, you know, words starts to sort of melt away in the evaporate.
Yeah.
Melt away. So I want to explain to you what it means that this is the frequency of planet Earth in 12 months. This is the planet Earth in a different way, in a different calculation, and this is planet Earth in 24 hours. And they're very, very different from one another. I already played you two. I'm playing you. I want to use the low frequency one so you can feel the difference. I don't have it here. Oh, okay. I want to use just the low frequency one. It goes in a different route, right? It goes much, much deeper.
I have many things to say. If you're going to
Wait, don't ask.
I have too much, so
Of course you do.
Finish, yeah.
This is the usually my treatments are also include talking because people are so curious about everything because it's a totally different language. It uses vibration and music intervals. Is a language that sound healers don't use. They use music. They use all kinds of terms. They don't use Chinese medicine. They don't use and astrology. So astrology is very, very important. You can measure a brain wave, which a brain wave is actually
it's a wave. It's like a sound wave.
It's a wave, but it's not originally a wave. The brain works in electronic.
Yes.
But they measure it as a wave. A wave can be translated from one wave to another. So a wave of movement in a mathematical equation can be transformed into a wave of light, a wave of color, and a wave of sound. A wave of sound is called hertz. So when I say planet Earth moves with the calculation certain amount of, let's say 136.3 hertz, 0.10 hertz, it means that this is moving 63.10 times a second. So we have actually the sound of planet Earth moving.
Okay. Spinning. Okay.
The speed of planet Earth moving within 12 months.
All right.
The speed Earth is moving within 24 hours and around the zodiac, but I'm not going to. Anyway, this way we have Mars, Venus, and everybody else. So we actually have all the planets here in our solar system. Many were discovered over the years. Sedna was discovered over the years. Chiron was discovered over the years. Nibiru was discovered over the years. And these are planets that usually people don't know about, but only people who are interested in
spirituality and
not spirituality,
like
astrology.
Yeah,
spirituality is not.
Yeah, but it's
astrology is not spirituality.
Yes, but
it's the most definite. It's the most amazing.
I heard these names and the planet names, and I don't.
You're special.
No, because
you're the first person I made that knows.
It's information that comes up once you get into all these realms of
it opens up,
contacting the non-physical.
Yeah.
So you hear many channels and many channelers and many ideas. And I heard the names of these planets.
I'm so happy.
Yeah, and I'm not. And
usually people don't know what I'm talking about. When somebody does, I'm thrilled.
Yeah, okay.
So the whole field of astrology is very, very important because each tuning fork is actually archetype.
Okay.
Venus is an archetype, and it's got a whole story of the Greek mythology, which most all the healers of Acutonics use it. I use it less. I use the archetype just like the headlines of archetypes. And what happens if I put Mars, Venus on you, I know. Sorry.
This is to the same
No.
octave,
Yeah. So if I take Mars, Venus, and I put them on you, I know this archetype, and I know this archetype, and I know the law of the octave, which means the octave has to be completed. How is it completed? The lower sound goes up to the higher sound, and together they complete the octave, right?
Yes.
So this is like a
But
physical...
this is the fifth, right?
Clever boy.
I can hear. But
You can hear from so far away?
Of course.
Oh, nice.
No, from the hitting
This-
here.
oh,
not from feeling it.
You're a musician. Oh, musicians. I
Okay.
love musicians.
No, but the thing is with fifth is that
No,
it
I'm
always-
not talking about the interval. Wait.
Okay.
You have to separate. When I explain, when I work, it's everything together. It's the
Okay.
interval, it's the archetype, it's the spiritual thing, it's the
Yeah.
body. But when I'm explaining about one thing, you have to sort of.
Yeah.
It's difficult because there's this method has so much. It spreads so wide to so
Yeah.
much information that you have to sort of say, okay, I'm concentrating now on this. So I'm concentrating now on the archetypes
Okay.
and
the
the
planets.
law, the archetype of each planet,
Mm-hmm.
leaving alone the fifth, which is a
Yeah.
totally different
Theme.
not only theme, but for me it's like a world of information because that's what I get the most of the information
Yeah.
from. But I know that the law says the octave has to be completed. Now if I put the tuning forks on an acupuncture point, this is not an acupuncture point, but just to explain it, I feel the dialogue in my hands, I feel the dialogue between these two. If Mars is the lower sound, pulls the high sound, it means something to me. I know how to translate it. If Mars doesn't have any power and it just goes directly to the higher note and goes along with Venus, I know why. I can interpret what's going on in the acupuncture point, knowing the meridian and the acupuncture point, how the acupuncture point works with the whole body.
My body resonates back to you, and you receive this information, and you
feel the vibration?
right now.
I read the vibration.
Yes.
Vibration has a million, I don't even know meanings.
Yes.
So I actually,
This is why I try to put it in an underline. You receive vibration coming back from my body.
that's what I said in the
into
beginning.
forks,
Yes, when I put the tuning
and
forks,
you-
my hands hold
And
you.
you get information.
I get information. Now say the whole sentence again. I won't disturb you.
Okay.
Say it again because you put it beautifully.
Okay, what I'm saying is that you're receiving back not a frequency, a vibration. You're receiving a vibration coming back from my body into the fork, into your hands, because it vibrates on a two-way street, let's call it, and you receive information from that, which you can act on.
Interpret and
Yeah.
decide what I'm doing next. That's why I don't work with protocols.
Yes.
I don't work with protocols. Only when I teach a workshop of 5-6 hours, I teach like
Yeah.
a basic protocol. I don't work with protocols and I don't teach my students protocols. You have to know the archetype, you have to know the music. And on top of all that, you've got the musical interval, which is
Yes.
which is like heaven for me. For me, to get into the clinic is playtime. It's a play date. I do play dates. With you now, it's a play date.
Wow, we're having fun.
I wouldn't do it if it wasn't fun.
Great.
I'm dead against not having fun.
Wow, I'm so
Life
happy.
is so difficult.
Yeah.
I just love having fun. And they give me a lot of fun because I never know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
People who need to know what's right ahead of them and they need a plan and, I'm contrary to that.
Yeah.
I'm an Irits and I need new things every second. And the more difficult they become, the more happy I get.
Yeah.
It's a challenge. So, having said that about these tuning forks, I want to just mention the high frequency because the high frequency is, they work in a totally different way. You can work with mid frequency with low frequency. You can actually, every tuning fork goes with every tuning fork.
Yeah.
Now, because being a musician, musicians always have very serious problem when they come here, because many of the tuning forks are not calibrated to the note, to the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, but to the planets. So the closest, they can be the closest one to do, re, mi, fa, but they're not precise.
Yeah.
Now the mind is a funny organ. It goes where it knows where to go. It completes sentences. So we have musicians that think that a certain couple make a fifth, and other musicians think it's a fourth.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say before when we talked about the interval, is that actually every sound in this world, every vibration, it's never a single sound, it's never a single note. It always has the fourth and the fifth and the octave inside what you call an overtone. So if these two are a fifth, but this has a fourth in it, so it also has an octave, you know what I'm saying? And every sound has all the sounds.
Exactly. Yes, but it also depends on the personal person, how he translates it. When I work, I'm the only one who is important to understand.
Yes.
The person doesn't need to understand.
No,
I want to
not
add
at
something. I want to add something to the tuning forks. I didn't know it was called channeling until I reached 33 or 34 when I went to a course, and then the guy said, "You don't need it. This is what you do." I said, so you call it channeling. But I talk to...
Okay. You receive information from the non-physical.
They give me the information.
These?
They bring in dead people
Mm.
into the clinic.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Amazing.
it's right. So they actually channel, especially Sedna.
Sena, that's the
Sedna.
name of the planet.
I'm going to put... You tell me what it is. It takes you time. Isn't it interesting? It should be
think
very
it's-
clear, but it's not.
Wow, I thought it's the same note, but slightly different. It's fourth.
It's fourth. So some people say it's a third.
Okay.
I never argue with musicians. I never argue with musicians. I don't care what. So I can take this, I can treat it as a third or as a fourth. Depends on where I want to go. I'll explain to you in a second.
Okay.
I'm putting Sedna and Zodiac, and they make a fourth. I have a lot to say to you putting it on your heart chakra, but I'm not going to say it. I have a lot to say because I'm putting it specifically on the heart chakra. I can put it somewhere else, but I decided to put it on your heart chakra because I get a lot of information there. But anywhere I put it, I get the information. I don't get the information only of the acupuncture point, of your whole body. It's very, very interesting. And then if I decide to change either let's say people come in and I feel that they want to be an octave or they want to be a sixth, but they have to go through second, third, fourth, fifth. Where's the rest? So I have to bring them to the sixth or to the whole octave.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to sort of find a way to get them there. I don't give them the octave. I don't give them the sixth.
Yeah.
I'll get them there.
Yeah.
I love to work. That's so beautiful.
You give them the stepping stones.
Not stepping stone. Stepping stone. Yes, it's the direction.
Yeah, you'll give them the direction.
But whether they go there, it's not up to me. It's up to them. My job as a practitioner, not only Acutonics, but working with my method and my way, is to teach them to do the rest of the way with their mind.
Yes, but this is not a cognitive teaching. It's.
Of course it is.
Oh,
you
also speak that.
You should put a question mark when you say things like that to me.
No, because
always ask.
Thank
You should know that already about me, only from our conversation.
But I was.
Ask me.
I was.
I do
feeling,
cognitive work? Definitely, I'm doing
Okay.
cognitive work.
Okay.
But this is not about Acutonics, this is about my way.
Okay.
I have a very specific way of working with the mind. I cracked something about the mind, and this is what I teach.
Okay.
And the change can be very fast if you teach the body, if you remind the body how to get back into cycle.
Yeah.
Once it goes into cycle, you have room in your mind to do the work. And it's very cognitive. It's like, how do you say in psychology, when you do like a fast,
A leap, like a what? Do you like a?
no. In psychology, there's like psychologia התנהגותית.
Okay.
So when you change your behavior, you change something in your life. And
Okay.
and I guide people how to change their reactions. The tuning folks do the work because they change the way you react.
Reactions or patterns or both?
Both.
Both.
So the tuning folks actually change the way you react because they reach the mind, of course.
Yeah.
And I always say that there's, when people say a tether, a frequency, there's no such thing as a tether, as a frequency. Because
Thank
like
you
you
so
said
much.
before, there's so much going on when we understand so little. If you ask me what is Acutonics all about, I could say magic, goodbye.
Okay.
Take your camera and leave.
Listen, I wanna cut this now because I wanna go to our actually to sit down and start the
Sure.
conversation.
All right.
And we have so much to talk about. I'm so fascinated, and first of all, I'm fascinated about what you discovered about me because that's always the juicy part.
I didn't
for
say.
me. You didn't say anything, but you said you received so much information. You left me with a lot of curiosity.
I don't think you know everything. You're very developed. You're very self-aware.
And also, I wanna sit like and talk about it. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
And also, I'm very curious about your speaking therapy, like your cognitive work as well. So we're gonna have a nice conversation now in your beautiful balcony garden.
Yes.
It is a
My little paradise.
Yeah. Okay.
I need a piece of nature wherever I go. I take it with me. If it doesn't exist, I create it.
We sure do. Oh.
Until the bees come, when the bees come, took 3 months until the bees started coming. When I saw the first bee, I cried of happiness.
I
knew the
amazing
cycle
to
is
tell you
over.
about bees.
Good.
I have something beautiful to tell you about bees.
Rudolf Steiner wrote 40 books about bees.
Did he?
Yes.
Wow.
אני כן רוצה אבל...
This is the sound of the moment. It's how it should sound right now. It should feel right now.